Hello everyone, we are going to introduce Erin Enouen. She is one of our town board members and we're going to be discussing the transfer station today and all the things that you can recycle. Erin, take it away.
Yes, hi, I'm Erin Enouen and I'm on the Town of Rochester Town Board. I'm also the transfer station liaison, which means that I report to the board about what's going on at the transfer station. And one of the things that I learned when I visited Harry, who's the manager of our transfer station, is that there are a lot of things that get thrown into our recycling bins that shouldn't be in there. So what I wanted to do today is go over how we should all be recycling and how we should be using the recycling bins at the transfer station. So number one thing to remember is that just because something has a number and arrow symbol on it doesn't mean it's recyclable. And I know that that's tough because we all really want to recycle, but we can only take certain things at our transfer. So we have this bin of household recycling here, and we're going to go through one by one and go over what things can be recycled and can't. So number one thing is this plastic container. Looks like it's recyclable, but actually it's not. So if you have something like this, it's considered garbage. So we're not going to put that in the bin. Now we've got a Pepsi bottle with the cap on, and it's relatively clean. This is a perfect example of how you should recycle something. The lid should be on, and it should be relatively clean. So we can throw that in the bin. Two, we have a milk jug, and it has the lid on. It looks like it's been rinsed out, and it's a milk jug. So this is totally recyclable. It's relatively clean, so we're gonna throw it in the bin. And this is the commingled bin, so it takes metal and plastic. So then we have this can here, and this is another perfect example of something that we should be throwing into the commingled bin. Everything in this bin, there's cans, bottles, jugs, tubs, and jars. They're all relatively clean. They've just been rinsed. These are perfect. If you have a lid that's the plastic lid on a plastic bottle, it should stay on. You don't want to put the lid itself loose because that actually jams up the equipment that they use when they receive the recycling. So they've asked us to make sure they're on, and if they're not, if they don't have a jar to go on, just throw that small lid in the garbage. So something like this is relatively clean. It's got the lid on, it's perfect, it's a jug. One thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about what you're recycling is it's mostly going to be food items, the jars and tubs and jugs that food came in. You don't want to recycle something that had like a corrosive cleaner in it or oil. Those types of things are really hard to clean out of the container. Something like this has, it's a Parmesan cheese container. It still has a little bit of cheese in it. So before you throw that into your recycling bin at your house, you want to take the cap off, and I'm going to come over here to the garbage. And you want to dump that into the garbage, or you want to put that into your compost at home. And if it's something like a mayonnaise jar or a peanut butter jar or almond butter, tahini, anything that's really sticky, one trick is after you've gotten whatever you can out of it, put a little water in the jar, put the lid on, and just shake it really vigorously for like 30 seconds, and then dump that out. And that is clean enough at that point for you to recycle it. And that comes straight from the county. And that's the advice the county gives us, and they're the ones that take our recycling. Now, I see something in here that many people think is recyclable, a plastic flower pot. And these come in all different sizes, shapes, colors, especially over the summer. You're doing planting and landscaping. You've got loads of these black or terracotta colored plastic flower pots. Guess what? They're not recyclable at our transfer station. So please do not throw them into this bin. They won't take that at the county. So you want to consider that garbage, just like this tub here. But everything else in here, we've got lids on, really clean containers. You're gonna throw those right in. Another really common mistake people make when they do their recycling is they put their recyclables in a plastic bag. They come over here and then they throw it into the bin. That is not allowed. So you always want to make sure that your recyclables are not enclosed in a bag when you come to our transfer station. So now we're going to go over recycling paper, which sounds easy, but just like commingled recycling, has some rules we have to follow. So the number one thing is that when you're recycling your paper products, don't put cardboard in the paper recycling bin. And that can be a little tricky. So when we say cardboard, what we're talking about is what's called corrugated cardboard. And corrugated cardboard, if you look at it, has these like wiggle marks in between. So that's how you know that something's corrugated cardboard. And if it has that, no matter what color it is, no matter what was in it, that's considered cardboard. So this, the vinegar box of the vinegar that we recycled, is cardboard. But this trail mix container is actually called paperboard. So as you can see, if you open it up and flatten it out and you look on the edges there's no corrugation. So this goes straight into the paper recycling. Not a shoe box. Well, guess what? A shoe box is considered paper. It's, again, not corrugated, but look what's inside, tissue paper. Tissue paper is not recyclable. So this is considered garbage. But you can throw your shoe box right in there. Some things that you really need to look out for. Again, don't put corrugated cardboard in here. And especially don't put pizza boxes in. So pizza boxes are corrugated cardboard, but guess what? Pizza boxes are garbage. You can't recycle pizza boxes even in the corrugated cardboard recycling bin. Other things that you should not throw in paper recycling would be tissue paper or tissues, paper towels, and napkins. Those things are not recyclable. But as long as you also are recycling all clean things, so you don't want to recycle something that's soiled or has food on it or oil, those things can't be recycled and should go into the garbage. So dry, relatively clean, old paper products that you don't want, please recycle them. We want you to recycle them. And as long as you follow these guidelines, you're going to be doing a great job at paper recycling. We're at the glass recycling, and the glass recycling seems really easy, but just like paper and commingled, there's a couple of rules that you have to keep in mind when you're recycling glass. So number one, you can recycle any beverage container that's glass, any beverage bottle, any food jar that's glass, or any other clean bottle or jar. So this is a bottle, and it has a lid on. So before you throw it in, what you want to do, this lid is a metal lid. So what we want in here is glass only. So you take that metal lid off, throw it in the garbage, and throw your glass jar into the glass bin. We also have this salsa container here. It has the label on. You don't have to peel the label off. That will come off in the recycling process. Again, the metal lid has been taken off of this salsa jar, so you can just throw it in. Here we have something that's a little dangerous for the recycler. It's a broken jar. Now, this might be tricky to handle. You want to be safe for something like this, but because this is a food jar, it's a clean jar, it's broken, but you can recycle it. A lot of the glass breaks when it comes in here, so it's okay to recycle this. Just be careful when you're throwing it in the bin. Now, one big thing that you should not throw in is window glass. So that is not a food grade glass, it's not a bottle, and it's not a jar. So you don't recycle that. I know that it's glass, so it might make sense, but that is considered garbage, so you don't want to recycle that. There's some other things that might seem like they're glass that you want to make sure that you do not put in the glass recycling bin. Dishes, ovenware, and Pyrex. Those are not supposed to be put in our glass recycling. Window glass, I said. Light bulbs. Do not throw light bulbs in the glass recycling. That is a big no-no. Mirrors are not recyclable at our transfer station. And also you should not recycle crystal glass. So that's that fine, fancy, thick glass that's usually a higher end type vase or stemware. That is not, the crystal glass is not recyclable. Other than that, as long as you follow those rules, it's mostly going to be the things that you're drinking out of or a food container. Clean them out, remove those non-glass lids, and throw them in the bin.
Here is the co-mingle recycling bin, and can you pick out the things that don't belong in here? Pause the video now, and then we will go over the things that shouldn't be in the bin.
Okay, number one is this giant plastic container thing. That is not recyclable. Number two, plastic watering can. Not recyclable. Number three, plastic hanger. Not recyclable. Number four, plastic bags.
Wow.